Welcome back on Lit Up with Annie. In this session, we are going to discuss the kings and queens in the Renaissance. We discussed the Renaissance period, the historical background of the Renaissance period, and now we're going to talk about the different reigns, the kings and the queens that came in this very important age. We did talk about Henry VIII in the Renaissance, and in the Reformation, of course, his role was huge. A big role he played. He belongs to the House of Tudor, Henry VIII. He reigned from 1509 to 1547. It was a very big reign, 37 years, 282 days he was there, he ruled. But as I said, he had only 3 children. The 3 children were Edward, Mary, and Elizabeth, from the 6 marriages. So of course, Edward the 6th, the male heir, he became the king, but he was very little, I think somewhere around 9 years of age when he became the king. So 1547, say 1553 only, because he died very young. He died at the age of 15 and he ruled for 6 years and 160 days. क्या ही rule करेगा एक छोटा सा 9 साल से 15 साल का बच्चा. So of course he died very young, 15 years of age. He did not get married. Therefore there was a dispute in the claimant. अब कौन राजा बनेगा? He had sisters, Mary and Elizabeth, but Mary and Elizabeth were his stepsisters, and Mary being the elder one, she was Catholic. And एडवर्ड के रेन में देखो रेफॉर्मेशन हुआ, हेनरी द एट्थ चेंज द इंटायर फेथ ऑफ द कंट्री. सो व्हाट हैपेंड, एडवर्ड, in the reign of Edward, this entire process, this happened, this change happened. Edward ke time pe everybody became Protestant, the faith became Protestant, but Mary was Catholic, and that was one of the reasons that Edward did not want Mary to become the queen. Therefore what he did was he named Lady Jane Grey as his heir, but there were disputes because anyway, Lady Jane Grey is also known as the queen for a few days. 9 days only she remained the queen. 1553 it was, and she was executed when she was only 17 years of age. बताओ 17 साल की बच्ची थी वो, and she was said to be a traitor and all, and she was executed. You can go and read into detail what happened with Lady Jane Grey. Why did Edward name Lady Jane Grey as his heir? Jane was in relation. She was a cousin. So Jane was the great granddaughter of Henry VII. So granddaughter of Henry VIII. Through his younger daughter Mary, and was a first cousin once removed of Edward the 6th. First cousin once removed, probably the second cousin of Edward. So Edward named Lady Jane Grey as his heir. After that, what happened? Only 9 days. As I said, Jane was a committed Protestant, and Edward wanted somebody who was a Protestant to keep that faith alive. And she would support the Reformed Church of England, whose foundation Edward laid. लेकिन क्या हुआ कि मैरी के सपोर्ट में बहुत सारे लोग खड़े हो गए कि मैरी क्वीन बननी चाहिए, नॉट लेडी जेन ग्रे. शी वॉज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट क्वींस in this house of Tudor. My little baby says hello to all of you. So support for Mary grew quickly, and most of Jane's supporters abandoned her. बहुत सारे supporters Jane के पास भी थे, but very soon when people saw that the support for Mary is growing, people stepped back from Jane's support and they abandoned her. So the Privy Council of England suddenly changed sides and proclaimed Mary as queen. तो पूरा council ने भी side quickly उन्होंने change कर लिया, and they also abandoned Jane, and they proclaimed Mary as queen on 19th July 1553, deposing Jane. Her primary supporter was her father-in-law, the Duke of Northumberland. जो थे, ये कौन, किसकी बात कर रहे हैं हम? जेन की बात. प्राइमरी सपोर्टर जो थे was accused of treason and executed less than a month later. Jane was held prisoner in the Tower and was convicted of high treason in November 1553, which carried a sentence of death. That was the reason. पहले तो father-in-law and सबको traitor साबित कर दिया. We don't need to really go into detail what happened. If you're interested, of course you can read. But the crux is that she was held prisoner and then she was convicted. At one point of time, Mary ने अपना decision change भी कर लिया था. She said that okay, I will not give her a death sentence, but then because of this father, इनके father जो थे, he somehow became a threat also to Mary's growing power. So then she decided that no, let's just go on with it. Therefore, she was given a death sentence. So finally, Mary the First came 1553 to 1558. बहुत time नहीं rule किया, 5 years, 122 days. She's also known as Bloody Mary. You must have heard. She made vigorous attempts to reverse the English Reformation. English Reformation हुआ, Catholic faith changed to Protestantism, and she being Catholic, she made a lot of attempts to reverse everything, and there was chaos all over. Queen of England and Ireland. She was the Queen of England and also Ireland from July 1553, and also the Queen of Spain because she was the wife of King Philip II, who was from Spain, from January 1556 until her death in 1558. After Mary's death in 1558, her re-establishment of Roman Catholicism was again reversed by her younger half-sister and successor, Elizabeth I. Also, Mary और फिलिप का co-rule था. They were co-rulers. They co-reigned in सब जगह पे. तो फिलिप II का भी नाम आता है in the list of monarchs of England. So we have Elizabeth the first came after Mary's death, and whatever attempts that Mary had made to reverse the English Reformation, she reversed it back. So she was again Protestant. Philip the Prudent, he is also known as Philip the Prudent. From 1554 to 1558, husband of Mary, they co-reigned. And then came Elizabeth I from 1558 to 1603, one of the longest reigns, 44 years, 128 days. She remained unmarried, therefore no heir. But in her time, everything changed. Everything changed for better, I mean. People coexisted, whether Catholics or Protestants, although she was Protestant, but there was religious tolerance. After House of Tudors end here because Elizabeth unmarried and Mary had no children, and Edward का आपको पता ही है, died very young. Therefore came House of Stuart now. Okay, he's in a mood today. Why did House of Stuart come? ये सारे connected हैं एक दूसरे से, all cousins only. किसी ने कहीं शादी की होगी तो of course they had a heir. So Elizabeth's cousin, King James VI of Scotland, succeeded to the English throne as James I in the Union of the Crowns. There was a Union of Crowns. So James I started ruling. James I के reign को हम और क्या कहते हैं? Jacobean era. From 1603 to 1625. 22 years, 4 days he ruled. And after James came Charles I, son. From 1625 to 1649. 23 years, 310 days. House of Stuart only. Charles I के era को हम Caroline age भी कहते हैं. So this is from till 1649, generally the scholars call it the Renaissance. So these were the kings and queens in the Renaissance period. Let's quickly revise once. From after Henry VIII, Edward VI, then Lady Jane Grey, then Mary I, Elizabeth I, मैरी के साथ फिलिप ऑल्सो, and then House of Stuart, James the First and Charles the First. So I hope this is clear. After this, we will start with the particular ages in the Renaissance. For example, Elizabethan age, तो हम टुकड़ों में उसको करेंगे. Elizabethan, Jacobean, Caroline age separately. Historical background and the literature. We'll also start with the literature of the Renaissance now. I'll end here. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel, share this video with other people and hit the like button if you liked the video. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.